Yeah.
Almost at the enemy outpost, Violo Village. The village is crawling with enemy soldiers. Don't just go waltzing in. Start with some recon. Is there anywhere that overlooks the village? Good. Can you see the village from there? Use the binoculars to recon the place. Look at where the enemies are stationed. Look at their gear. Take it all in. There should be a command post somewhere. See any buildings with tighter security? If there are clues to Miller's whereabouts, I'll bet you can find them in there. Bear in mind, your weapon will be loud from now on. That's a serious injury. Find cover and use first aid.
Огонь! Огонь! На 9 часов! Не отступать! Граната! Возобновляющий огонь!
There could be intel files of some kind in there.
Это КП, понял? Приказ всем группам. Отправите резервы на подкрепление. Конец связи!
Вот ты где! come in. Boss? Boss!
We don't know Miller's exact location, so you'll need to do a little intel gathering first. Take a look around Vialo Village.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Yeah. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
A few days ago, Miller was taken through there, en route towards Dewandehar. The transport log might still be around somewhere. A few days ago, Miller was taken through there, en route towards Dewandehar. The transport log might still be around somewhere.
Yeah. Whoa, whoa.
Boss, your mission is to rescue the target Kazuhira Miller, the man you called your partner 9 years ago. Miller? You were hospitalized in Dekelia, a British sovereign base area on Cyprus. It's part of British overseas territory that falls outside of Cypriot jurisdiction. You got moved from Cuba's Little America right into Cyprus's Little Britain. Why Dekelia? The UK and the US remain close allies. The last place Cypher would think to look for you is inside their own system. That's what kept you safe in British military hospital for 9 years. The safest place from a whale is inside its own belly. You were a regular Geppetto.
Well, it wasn't Pinocchio who led me out to safety. So who was that guy?
Cypher went so far as to attack British territory, burning their own ally. That's how badly they wanted you dead.
He said I was in a British military hospital. But the doctor had a Greek accent.
They hire locally. Easy. Miller told me about what happened in the Caribbean 9 years ago. You do remember Miller. You'd formed a private army with him. An army with no allegiance to a nation.
I remember, but...
I see. You're not sure what's fact and what's a fantasy caused by the coma. It's still all a mess, huh? All I can do is tell you the facts as they were told to me. I've gone easy on you up until now, but this is where the hard stuff begins. 1974, the year before you entered your coma. You were in Colombia, operating with a small unit of men, basically mercenaries. Miller was among them. Miller was trying to find a way to turn his and your talents into a line of work. He was looking to start a business where you would fight on behalf of others around the world, those who needed military force. But the reality was, at that time, you didn't have enough gear to equip your own men. Then Miller came across this client. It was a huge job he was offering, but you had a shot at pulling it off. You accepted it and headed into Costa Rica. The client even threw in an offshore facility in the Caribbean. The mother base, that would be your new base of operations. Miller sure did have a head for business. As your mission went on, your unit grew and grew. More weapons, more money. Before you knew it, you were commanding 300 men. As the organization got bigger, your military powers swelled to match. It got so the international community couldn't afford to ignore you. You were just too damn successful for your own good. You, your men, had worn out your welcome. Everyone was out for you. East, west. Here, Snake, try this on.
A prosthetic arm.
Yeah, Miller was calling it the arm that wasn't there. The physiotherapy's going well. Your arm's bulked up enough for it to fit. There. Perfect. A little time with it, and it'll work better than the real thing. What do you think?
Huh. I can still feel my real arm.
Well, you better get used to this one quick. You have any pain?
Every now and then.
Where?
My fingertips. My left fingertips.
Sounds like phantom pain. Your brain still remembers your old hand.
Yeah.
What about your vision? Can you see okay?
Yeah, at the moment.
Now, the shrapnel in your skull is pressing on your optic nerve. I'm told any hard impact could have an effect on your visual cortex.
Yeah. The doctor mentioned that.
Your brain might process visual information incorrectly. In other words, you could have hallucinations. You might see things that aren't there, or not see things as they really are. You experience any of that?
I think so.
When?
Right after I wake up. Colors look faded.
Colors, huh? Well, that's not a major concern in and of itself, but it could mean the difference between life and death in the field. You'll need to watch out for that.
I will.
All right. You should continue your physio. We'll be arriving soon. It's the last chance you'll get. Snake, I wanted to ask you about the man on fire. What do you remember from the hospital? Anything we can use?
Well, he took off the moment the sprinklers started up.
Sprinklers? The fire system?
And when he got sprayed with water from the burst pipe, it slowed him down.
When we escaped on horseback, he wouldn't cross the river either.
And then it started to rain. And he disappeared.
Water against fire. Is it that simple? I mean, it makes sense. It's just hard to believe it would work on a guy like that. You were hospitalized in Dekelia, a British soccer.
While the Soviets have indicated they are not participating in the Los Angeles...
He said I was in a British military hospital. But the doctor had a Greek accent.
They hire locally. Easier to trust them. Dekelia is also home to Greek Cypriots, after all.
What about the Turks? They haven't returned to the south.
Not yet. The Cyprus dispute is still a long way from resolved. The country is just as split as it was in '74. Turkish Cypriots in the north, Greek Cypriots in the south. Between them, the Green Line, the UN established.
And Dekelia sits right on top of it.
It does. Part of the buffer zone between the two groups. Another reason it was the perfect place to hide you. Easy to spot any outsiders snooping around.
So how do things stand?
Now, last year, the Turks declared that the Turkish Republic of Northern Cyprus is an independent state, though it's only Turkey that recognizes it. In the past, the Greeks and Turks lived side by side in the same villages. There are reasons to fight. Those came from the outside. Turkey, Britain, America, they all had their own stake in pitting the two sides against each other. But once you spark something like this, it's impossible to control. Both sides build up grudges like debt. Without the foresight to see that each act of revenge just fans the flames. and then it's too late for other nations to rush in with peace talks. The embers keep on smoldering. Each nation's arrogance only breeds anarchy. The world is paralyzed by this hunger for revenge. Cyprus is no different. You're up.
We're changing ships?
We can't go sailing the Suez in a whaler.
The Suez Canal. When did they reopen it?
Not long after you were attacked. Once they finished sweeping it for mines after the Arab-Israeli conflict. Can you stand? We're going to transfer to a container ship for passage through the Suez. Our destination is Pakistan, Afghanistan's neighbor to the south. There we disembark and head via Peshawar to the Zero Line, the border. We'll travel to the Khyber Pass by road.
And then?
We continue on horseback. Afghanistan's main roads are under Soviet control. We'll need to go around them. It'll be all narrow, winding paths. Your suppressor's no longer effective. Bear in mind, your weapon will be loud from now on. They use the higher ridges to avoid air recons. Then they charge down the mountains for ambushes. The Soviets still haven't devised a counter-strategy. Our time frame is only half as much as we really need. It's gonna be a tough march.
Better horses than boats.
Well, it'll make for good physiotherapy. Take the time to get used to that new arm.
While the Soviets have indicated they are not participating in the Los Angeles Olympics, primarily because the United States has made no attempt to guarantee the safety of the Soviet Union's athletes, the United States is increasingly demonstrating the belief that the issue has nothing to do with its preparations, and in fact this is retaliation for the Western nations' boycott of the previous Moscow Olympics. That concludes today's news.
That's quite some news.
The Soviet Union not attending the LA Olympics? Yeah. Andropov's death has changed some things. They're calling it revenge for the Western boycott of the Moscow Olympics.
Countries boycotted the Moscow Olympics?
Yes. In protest of the Soviet Union's invasion of Afghanistan. Over 50 countries were absent. It's too bad I didn't get to see Yamashita's judo. When the 40th Army crossed the Amu River 4 years ago, détente went right out the window. The U.S. Congress chose not to ratify SALT II, and Reagan's hardline politics won in the presidency in a landslide. According to him, the Soviet Union's an evil empire.
The second Cold War.
Parabolic antenna. There could be intel files of some kind in there. Lebanon, the Falklands, Grenada, Iran, Iraq. The story never changes. Egypt and Israel did sign a peace treaty. But then the driving force on the Egyptian side, President, was assassinated afterwards. Apparently, his actions were considered a betrayal of his fellow Arabs.
Islamic extremists?
Yes. Fundamentalist extremists have been responsible for some bold acts of terrorism in recent years. We've had extremist students in Iran take U.S. embassy workers hostage, and suicide bombings in Lebanon. Over 300 foreign soldiers stationed there have been killed. The countries have yet to develop an effective means of dealing with terrorism. Afraid of losing their own men, they pulled their forces out, handing private forces a golden opportunity.
Private forces?
Small armies with no national affiliation, working for the highest bidder. That's right, they got the idea from you. After Mother Base went down, they began spreading to meet the soaring demand. Miller's organization is just one of many PFs now. The entire world is after you. So you picked up an intel file. Now we know where Miller is. I'm marking it on your iDroid. In the Caribbean 9 years ago. You do remember Miller. You'd formed a private army with him. An army with no allegiance to a nation.
I remember, but...
I see. You're not sure what's fact and what's a
fantasy caused by the coma.
That's the building, boss. That's where they're holding Miller.
I'll tell you the facts as they were told to me. I've gone easy on you up until now. Boss, you're a...
Кафе, меня кто-то вырубил. Скорее всего, противник. Не заняться поиском. Прием. Это кафе, понял. 7 единиц. Будьте бдительны и найдите нарушителей. Конец связи. Понял. Усилить безопасность и найти нарушителя. Конец связи. КП-206. Есть признак вражеской активности. Усилим охрану. Прием. Это КП. Понял. Ищите подозрительные. Конец связи.
That's a type of medicinal plant. Bring it back to base. It's sure to be useful sometime.
Всем боевым группам. Это КП. Вышел из строя целый ряд ламп. Похоже на проблемы с электроэнергией. Ближайший патруль. Проверить здесь питание. КП-206. Расследуй немедленно. Конец связи. Всем боевым группам. Это КП. Всем единицам приготовиться к бою. КП, это свои 10! У нас большие потери! Нужен резерв, немедленно! Прием! Это КП, понял! Внимание всем подразделениям! Отправить резервы на помощь! Повторяю, отправить помощь! Конец связи! КП, это свои 10! Потерял противника из вида! Ищу последние точки соприкосновения! Прием! Это КП, понял. Проверьте, но осторожно. Конец связи.
Yeah.
It's an enemy guard post. Watch yourself. It'll be dawn soon. Your surroundings will be easier to see, but that goes for the enemy as well. The guard detail in Soviet outposts changes in the morning too. Watch yourself. It's up to you whether to slip by enemies or take them down. Just remember that any situation can change fast. Familiarize yourself with your weapons and items while you can. You need to be able to switch between them quickly to meet any threat. Hiding on horseback allows you to stay out of sight even while on the move. It's effective for avoiding enemy guard posts and long-range reconnaissance patrols. You've reached one day. They've got Miller locked up in that town. Check your iDroid for his location. I hope to hell he's all right. He's not your average client.
Whoa, whoa!
Это КП, понял? Всем с постов! Срочно пришлите подкрепление! Конец связи! Штаб, это дальний патруль! Обнаружен несознанный вражеский боец! Атакуем! Прием! Прием! Всем базам, это штаб! Всем базам, усилить безопасность и готовиться к возможному контакту с врагом! Конец связи! КП, это 4. Потерял противника. Ищу в последней точке соприкосновения. Прием. Это КП, понял. Будьте начеку и найдите противника. Конец связи.
Looks like the enemy's lost sight of you. They're gonna try to hunt you down.
Поймал его!
That's the building, boss. That's where they're holding Miller.
Внимание всем подразделениям! Отправить резервы на помощь! Повторяю, отправить помощь! Конец связи!
Где ты? Будет подавляющий огонь! Тебя поймал! Будет подавляющий огонь! Чух! Граната!
Не можем никого к вам прислать! Постарайтесь справиться сами! Конец связи!
Прекратить огонь! Прекратить огонь!
is to make contact with the target now. Hold off until the heat has died down.
Hey, quit kidding around. Snake? Snake!
We know where the target is. Head for 1 day. You've reached 1 day. They've got Miller locked up in that town. Check your iDroid for his location. I hope to hell he's all right. He's not your average client.
Yeah.
Всем боевым группам, это кафе. Боевые посты. Все подразделения, по боевым постам.
Открыть огонь! Открыть огонь! Огонь! Лови! Дайте защитный огонь! Дай врагу пройти! Не дам рыбка! Подержись огня! Огонь! Огонь! Огонь!
That's the building, boss. That's where they're holding Miller. That's a serious injury. Find cover and use first aid.
Hey, quit kidding around. Snake? Snake!
Sight, sound. Keep all your enemy's senses in mind. When you're near an enemy, stay low and move slowly. If you stand up and run around, you'll make it easier for them to spot you.
Kaz.
No more use for me, huh?
Kaz, it's me. I'm here to get you out.
Snake.
They do something to your eyes?
No, it's just bright is all. What took you so long?
We'll talk, but not here.
You've secured the target. I'll send the chopper to get you out. Make your way to the RV. Check the location on your iDroid.
You look well. Right?
This is B-Quad. Arriving shortly at LZ.
На меня кто-то напал. Скорее всего, на базу лазутчик. Жду указания. Прием!
Это КП, понял. Все в единицу. Будьте бдительны и найдите нарушителей. Конец связи. This is B-Quad. Have arrived at LZ. Will stand by.
Нарушителей. Прием!
Это КП, понял. Усилить безопасность и найти нарушителя. Конец связи.